Hello and welcome back to Transfer News Live. I'm Sam C and this is how footballers get paid. Now, when you see a headline like player signs £200,000 a week deal, it sounds like they've just won the lottery, right? But how do footballers actually receive that money? Is it a suitcase of cash every Friday, a direct deposit every Monday morning? And is that headline figure really what they take home? Well, it's way more complicated than it looks. Wages, taxes, bonuses, image rights, agents, even how a club finishes in the league, all affects what ends up in a player's bank account. Let's break it all down. Base salary. Let's start with the obvious one. Every professional footballer under contract gets a guaranteed wage. That's the number the media loves to report. £80,000 a week, £120,000 a week, sometimes over £400,000 a week. But here's the twist. Players are usually paid monthly, not weekly. So if someone's on £100,000 a week, they're actually receiving about £400,000 per month gross, and that's just their starting figure. Some players have staggered contracts where their wage increases year by year. Others might earn less if they're under 23 with performance reviews tied to playing time. But overall, the base salary is the foundation. Whether they play or they sit on the bench, they're still getting paid. Taxes and deductions. Of course, they do not keep all of the money mentioned above. In the UK, the top income tax bracket is at 45%. So half of that £400,000 a month goes straight to the taxman. And suddenly, £100,000 a week becomes more like £55,000 take home. Then you've got your national insurance, your pension deductions, and potentially union fees to the PFA, the Professional Footballers Association. Now, in some countries, players sign net salary deals. That means their take-home pay is guaranteed and the club pays the taxes on top of that. Clubs in Spain, Italy, and more recently places like Saudi Arabia do this often, to attract the big names. So when you hear someone like Karim Benzema is on 200 million a year in Saudi, you can bet that that's net. It's not gross. Let's talk now about bonuses, because that's where players really stack cash. Contracts are often full of incentives. Appearance bonuses, win bonuses, goal and assist bonuses, clean sheet bonuses, and of course, the one every player loves and wants, the trophy bonuses. A striker might get £20,000 for hitting 15 goals in a season. A keeper might pocket £5,000 for every clean sheet. Some clubs even include bonuses for simply being named in the squad. I bet you didn't know that, and that is mental to think about. And when teams win trophies, there are often six-figure payouts for every player. Winning the league or qualifying for the Champions League could literally double a player's annual earnings. Bonuses are huge because they also keep the players motivated, if you think about it, right? And that's also without breaking the wage structure. Now, here's where it gets really clever. Image rights. When a footballer becomes a brand, their face, their name, and even their celebration could become commercially valuable. And no one changed the game more than Manchester United and England's most famous David Beckham. Here's a story. When Beckham joined Real Madrid in 2003, he agreed to take a wage cut compared to his Man United deal. But in return, he kept 50% of his image rights. That move made him tens of millions off the pitch. Boot deals, fragrances, Pepsi ads, you name it. Most players today set up image right companies. Their club pays the company, the individual does not. It can also be more tax efficient, as that income is taxed like a business. For top players, image rights can match or even exceed their wages. For Beckham, Ronaldo, and Messi, for example, it was massive. And outside the club, players earn millions more from endorsements. Boot deals, energy drinks, video games, fashion lines, car partnerships, the list goes on. Let's take somebody like Jude Bellingham. Even before joining Real Madrid, Bellingham had boot offers from Adidas, Nike, and Puma. He's now front and center of global campaigns, which means big money. And don't forget social media. Players with huge followings can earn thousands from a single sponsored Instagram post. It's why branding is becoming just as important as ability, especially for these younger stars. Next up, we're going to talk signing fees and loyalty bonuses. When a player signs a contract, either a new deal or a transfer, they often receive a signing on fee. This can range from £250,000 to several millions of pounds. And then there are loyalty bonuses. Ironically, these are often paid when a player simply sees out their contract. Now, let's talk about the Roy Keane story. Back in 2001, Manchester United offered Roy Keane a £50,000 a week contract, making him the highest paid player at the club. But when United tried to sign Juan Sebastian Veron on more, Keane reportedly said, "If he's worth that, I'm worth double." He wasn't just protecting his own paycheck, he was protecting the dressing room culture. Roy Keane believed that the top earners needed to earn that status on the pitch, not just in negotiations. Of course, behind every contract is usually a very annoying agent. Agents negotiate deals and take a cut, often 5 to 10%, of the player's wages or the signing fee. And sometimes the club pays them, and sometimes the player does, and sometimes the agent makes more than the player earned in year one of the deal. This, as I'm sure you could imagine, has led to a lot of controversy. FIFA has recently introduced new regulations to cap fees and increase transparency, but in truth, it's still a murky area. There are also intermediaries, family representatives, and third-party advisors involved. Where a player plays can have a massive effect on their pay. In countries like Saudi Arabia, players pay no income tax, so their net salary is their real salary. In contrast, France and Belgium, for example, have some of the highest tax rates in Europe, which means more clubs have to pay far more to match a UK wage offer. Then there's the issue of relegation clauses. In the Premier League, many players have contracts that automatically slash their wages by up to 50% if their club gets relegated. It protects the club financially, but for the player, it's motivation to avoid the drop or get a transfer fast. So, how do footballers get paid? It's not just a number in the headlines, it's a multi-layered deal made up of base wages, tax bonuses, image rights, sponsorships, agents, signing fees, and even, as Roy Keane showed us, dressing room politics. At the top end, it's big business, but the truth is, every deal is different, and footballers, they earn every penny on the pitch and off it. I'm SamC_reports on X, and this has been how footballers get paid. If you learned something new, drop a like, leave a comment, and follow Transfer News Live for more deep dives into football's biggest talking points. I'm Sam, and I'll catch you in the next one.